go make your own tacos and nachos.
And then he writes 10 pages about how good
and they set that dude through there over and over and over again. Like, they set him through there like 5, 10, 15, 20 times. And then they have him review them.
He's reaching positive reviews.
They run it through the Sizzler line about 20 times. And then like, here we go.
Groundhog's Day at the fucking buffet line.
What am I going to try differently this time?
So yeah,
I'll put the sushi in the roast beef.
And then of course the other thing that came up about
we're making Taco
guys are off here, man.
Taco Bell menu items right now, man.
What's going on?
It's a crunch wrap chalupa.
This has been sort of beaten to death, but I think that at least I wanted to comment on it and see what you guys say, because I think it was a slightly different thing to say about it. This is Dennis Dyack of Silicon Knights, which is making Too Human for Xbox 360, was on EGM Live, just the EGM podcast. It wasn't even last week; it was a week
2 weeks.
before, right?
Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
I think
So that's how old played out this is. But anyway, part of the whole thing that caused such a sensation on there was that he took EGM to task for having an opinionated preview, and it's different. Like, I want to take it more general and say, because I think his argument was the very notion of an evaluative preview is kind of pointless. It's kind of stupid. There's like a whole sub argument there about it being about the way that it appeared, because that was EGM's E3 issue, and it appeared in the context of an E3 feature, and their logic on that, of course, is that for the same reason that you see all these the same developers, like I'm sure whoever publishes, it's not Dyack's doing, but whoever publishes game, if they won some E3 Judges Awards, they'll be more than happy to put those on the box or on the promotional website or something. Hey, we won. So more and more people put playable product at the show floor in a way to be expect it to be evaluated. I mean, just the assumption's there. If you can win an award, right, someone's evaluating your stuff. So it's like, I don't accept the award.
You have judges.
But so in the larger scheme of things, though, I agree with them in this sense. It would be, and this is, and we talked about this before on the show. I felt like, okay, they're just going right where we've been, in that it's so dumb to write a preview and talk about how the frame rates are coming along or how such and such technical aspects of the game need to be addressed. Right. I mean, it's just the same as if you're writing a preview for Entertainment Weekly of whatever movie, King Kong or something, and you talked about how, well, right now there's people running around and screaming in front of a green screen, but we have every reason to believe that in 6 months' time, a large gorilla will take the place of that screen, and we'll be grabbing these people. So that is completely stupid, and I agree with it. However, that said, the essence of the game, so to speak, or whatever the design of the game, I think is totally, we're totally able to comment on it and evaluate it.
Right.
Not only, it's not even a matter of if we are or not. We just do it. It's a matter of if we own up to it or not. Like, whenever, say, companies come in here, this is going to get us in trouble. I won't name any names, but say a company comes here, they come to our floor, and we have one up here, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Games for Windows Magazine, and if there's a demo, if it's something that's caught people's eye, it might be the pedigree or it might be just the premise of the game or whatever, but everyone's in there, and they want to see it. And then there are times when there's like no one in there. There's like one person like goes in there just because they feel obligated to.
It's kind of like Russian roulette.
And the rest of us are all hiding.
So at that point, you're already evaluating things to the extent where you can say, okay, if this is a game, like, here's another case. They brought in Leafeon a while ago, and this game it's got every chance of becoming something cool, a 360 and PC game. It's based on fighting and whatnot. But looking at it, I immediately said, this is a hack and slash game where you run around and there's no puzzle solving or anything to break the monotony. So it's entirely going to come down to how engaging it is to fight. However, although there's combo systems in place and stuff like that, you could do more than just mash A. It seemed oblivious to what God of War has done, what even Devil May Cry has done, to Ninja Gaiden, what these other games have done, and what the price of entry has since changed to in this category of game. And immediately I can say, well, my gut so far as it says this is not going to be, if this is all there is to it, no, it's not going to be. And you could say it's going to change, but so many times, and we don't talk about these things, we're proved right. Other people review it and they say, well, that's interesting. That was exactly what I was wondering about, 12 months ago or something like that. So in cases like those, I think you can. It's not a conclusive. It's not like, there's always the element of that a game can change. I mean, if it's a preview, that's the whole no-show. It's a work in progress,
Right.
But you can. I do think. I mean that we can do it. Not only that. Here's another point. Game companies, Ubisoft, EA, for example, will employ people full time. They're called game evaluators. And what they do, and I was actually offered a position at a major publisher before I decided to work for GFW, for CGW. And part of that was doing, writing mock evaluations and talking to people basically, and this is based on anything from a very primitive version of a game to just a design document. We're already at that phase. They're wanting you to evaluate, not just, is this a product category that people are willing to buy? Is it going to make us money? But does this have any chance of being cool, of being a good game? And if they're already doing that, the publishers are already doing that and employing people full time to do that. Again, I just think it reinforces the idea that you can do something. You can make some judgment calls.
Well, they just don't want
before.
it unless it's positive.
Right.
But I don't know. I think sometimes in the past we've run evaluative to a degree previews, and we'd made a comment, and that actually got. I can't remember the exact example right now, but I made a comment about something that needed to be fixed in a game, and by the time the game came out, they actually made that exact change. I'm like, well, good. I'm glad in some small way. I'm glad that game got fixed. If not by my saying it, then at least a billion other editors who probably said the same thing. So, I mean, I think there is some merit to it as long as you balance it out and not make it like, okay, the game's going to suck because of this. Just as long as
Right.
I view it as constructive criticism.
It's just the pieces. You have to figure out which pieces are the ones that are important, and
Right.
the most likely to not change by the end is the design decisions made from the beginning. Same like if you read a script for a movie, to bring it back to another art form, you could say, all right, you can read the King Kong script, and you know certain things about the movie, whereas like if you saw the green screen, you would just kind of dismiss that and say, of course they're going to fix it, but you can't really. The script's what it is. You know what it's going to be.
Right. And that's the really dumb part about our
that's the problem
about our industry is that I mean, because we're halfway between like technical pages and art critics,
That's the immaturity of the critics at this point. They just haven't quite figured out how to where to fall on that spectrum, and they sometimes get so wrapped up in the eye candy they forget about
I think
the
it's
story.
the immaturity of the entire business. The one good point that somebody made at that Game Critics Roundup that I thought was interesting was, and maybe kind of true, was he said that because so much of what happens with new games and new generations of games is technology based,
right?
That the writing about it gets lost in that. And he said it's as if somebody were to review a movie in 1950 and basically be reviewing CinemaScope.
Yeah.
Or Technicolor.
Exactly. The engine's equivalent. Yeah.
As opposed to the actual, content. And that maybe if there becomes a point, and maybe will never be a point though, but where games kind of stabilize, where we're not just talking about the technology all the time, that we can sort of get beyond that being, the bullet point list that we go through.
Right. I mean, that's the assumption in every category in every aspect of games. I mean, that's when you'll start getting more. And I'm not saying that you don't have games that have just really rich and vibrant art design now as opposed to graphics, but you'll get more of that. It's no longer going to be about just proving that you actually look good, but then you can stop worrying about that. You start worrying about the story, start worrying about, the AI to a greater extent than you ever have. And quality of interaction and all these other things. Whereas like right now, I mean, it's a well-known fact. What one of the chief selling points of a game is how good it looks, and we can go all the way back to, I mean, some of the best looking pieces of shit that have ever been greenlit.
Yeah.
That Dog McCree exists. We can bring that up. No hurt anyone's feelings.
Dragon's Lair.
That Dog McCree.
Well, Dennis Diak's point, though, I mean, they, those developers basically just want to see you lavish praise on their games.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, to his credit, I think he did say. I mean, what did he say? That he was for. He says he is for harsher criticism and whatnot. And again, it's like the point. I don't want to rehash everything about that. I mean, there have been tons of threads all over and 2 podcasts focusing on that, and I just kind of wanted to address that specific aspect of it.